What's going on, Hoop Junkie? Today I'm recording this on Tuesday, July 9th, right before the California Classic, day number 3, and before the game tomorrow, USA versus Canada in Las Vegas. Welcome to Shot Clock Scribbles. I am your host, Tindayam Kandurire. Today is episode number 22, and in this episode, we're going to be talking about free agents, part 2. First guy up the board is DeMar DeRozan. He signed a 3-year, $74 million deal, so it comes out to around $23 million per. He was at the game on Saturday that I went to. That was Sacramento Kings versus Team China in that California Classic, day number 1. Was very excited to see DeMar come out with his hat to the back, as he usually does. Debo came out to Not Like Us by Kendrick Lamar, which was very fitting for the Compton native. Look, I think this is a great signing for the Sacramento Kings. I know the media personnel are not really too happy about him signing, but hey, he's 34 years old. He inked this deal, 2 years are guaranteed with the option of the third year. He kicks up 16% of the cap right now with the Sacramento Kings. The Kings get DeMar. The Spurs receive HB. That's Harrison Barnes. And the Bulls get Chris Duarte and 2 second-round picks. So I think this is a good move for the Kings for these reasons. This alleviates the pressure from Foxy and Domas to always score. And hey, I don't want to be that guy, but hey, injuries do happen, as we saw in last season. The year before that, the Kings were very fortunate not to have any injuries. But hey, DeMar's a guy that can give you 20 and 5 every single fucking night. He would do that. He has one of the best mid-range games in the NBA behind Kevin Durant, of course. And he's a really good playmaker. He's 34 years old. We just talked about that. But hey, he can still play make at a very high level. He adds a different tone as far as what to do on offense in that transition, pull up from the mid-range. That's going to be killer. That's what he does best. He's not the defender as he once was in his career, but he can still play defense. You guys can look at the clips on YouTube. He can still get it done on the defensive end, because we all know the Kings really preach defense. They were 14th last season on defense, so that needs to get better. You want to be at least in the top 10 in that category if you want to make waves in the playoffs or win a championship. The thing about DeMar is he takes about 1 3 a game. He's not the greatest of three-point shooters, I think around a 30% clip, but with having playmakers like Foxy and Domas, they'll get him a lot of open look. So he comes into a good team that can get him the ball, got good playmakers on the team, including also Malik Monk, and I think he'll be just fine right here in Sacramento. DeMar will bring scoring, playmaking, leadership, and consistency with the Sacramento Kings. He doesn't miss very much time. He's very available for his team, which is what you need, especially in this wild, wild west. And get this, guys, he's an 80% free throw shooter. So that would be a good sign for the Sacramento Kings fan base, because we all know last year they were bottom in free throw percentage last season. So really happy for DeMar. Hey, welcome to Sacramento, DeMar. The next guy I wanted to talk about on this list is down in Old Town in Orlando. That's Franz Wagner. The German inked a 5-year, 224 rookie maximum extension. Talk about a damn bag, man. He's headed over to the Olympics with the German national team, as they won the FIBA World Cup also last year. Now, this number could climb up all the way to $270 million if he becomes Supermax eligible. What does that mean? He needs to make the All-NBA team. So Franz will be going for that because he wants to get himself another bag. And man, Franz is one of my favorite players to watch in the NBA. I actually missed last year's game against the Sacramento Kings right here. I think that game went to double OT right here in Sacramento. They ended up getting the win. Sacramento did, but Franz was on a back-to-back and he didn't play. He played the previous night against the Warriors and ended up losing that game. But Franz is an exciting player to watch. He's not a household name, but man, this guy can get it done on both sides of the floor. The former Wolverine played 87% of the games last season. He averaged 25 and 3. And he takes about 15 shots, guys, a game, and he scores from the field at a 48% clip. So not bad. Makes about half of his shots. But the one thing that he could improve on is his three ball. 28% in that department. If he wants to get that super max and get all NBA, he's going to have to be in the lab working like a dog to get that percentage up to at least 35%. If he can get around that hover mark, he'll be able to get that super max in the near future here. So what does he bring to the table? Well, he can score the rock. We just talked about him being able to score around 20 points per game. And he's a versatile wing on both sides of the ball, right? He can defend at a high level. He can guard multiple positions, which is very important in this day and age with the lineups and the teams that we play. It's a chess match out there, and Jamal Mosley loves this guy. And it's no wonder why he's getting a bag. Some people might say, damn, that's a lot of money for this guy. Hey, man, the market is the market. You get the money, as we talked about in the last pod. And he uses his size and length. He typically gets the mismatch because he's a big guy and he plays against smaller guys. So he's able to use his size as a weapon. He can dish out, he can go to the rim, get to the cup, and go to the free throw line as needed. So, Franz, man, congrats on getting yourself in back, man. I wanted to talk about is Buddy Hield, the Bahamas, man. Those guys just missed out on the Olympics this summer in Paris. But this was a sign and trade, and it's the most massive 6-team deal. It's never happened before. $9 million per year. And the Mavericks get Clay and a 2025 second round pick. Wolves get a 2025 second round pick, 2031 second round pick, swaps and cash. And the Warriors get Buddy Hield and Kyle Anderson. The Nuggets get cash considerations. The Hornets get Josh Green and Reggie Jackson and a 2029 and 2030 second round pick. A lot of assets being thrown around. And the last one is the 76ers getting a 2031 second round pick. And Buddy, he's hit 200 plus 3-pointers in the last 6 seasons in the NBA with a career 3-point percentage of 40% on a little over 7 attempts in games. So he's in a pretty good company. I'm sure him and Steph are going to go up a mano in contests during the season. Excited to watch those videos and how that all unfolds because those guys can shoot the damn rock. Staying with the Warriors, I wanted to talk about another pickup that they had is DeAnthony Melton, their former 76ers man. He's not really getting talked about that much, but if he remains healthy and remains available for his team, he's going to be a very good asset for those Dubs in the Golden State there. So last season, he averaged 11, 4, and 3. He really helped the Dubs rotation, and he shoots the ball at a 39% clip from the field and 36% from 3, so not bad. He's also pretty big, so he can get mismatches as needed. He's very good in transition. He can rebound the rock and can guard multiple positions, just like Franz can. So good pickup and good business for the Golden State Warriors. The next guy I wanted to talk about is Caleb Martin. We talked about him on the last pod as a player that was still up on the board, but that is no longer the case. He is headed to South Beach in Miami. He just inked their 4-year, $32 million deal with the 76ers. So the 76ers as well doing good business so far. So he gets a little bit less actually than what he had wanted. I think his agent was playing the numbers game, trying to get a little bit more years on that contract. And the Heat were wanting to really see what they would do with their assets down in the future. So this is a really good signing for them, and he's actually expected to probably have a starting role, probably at the 4 spot. So let's see how that all goes. The 76ers have been aggressive and revamping the roster. As we can see, they've made some really good key additions on top of extending Tyrese Maxey, most improved player, and signing PG and Paul George. And I actually like the whole story about PG and how that whole saga with the Clippers unfolded. We don't really get that insight from players, so I thought that was pretty interesting. If you guys haven't watched it, you can listen to his podcast or go on YouTube and find maybe a short clip of it. I thought that was very interesting. So thanks, PG, for giving us some kind of insight here in the basketball community. They also signed Andre Drummond at the center position. So Jojo was hurt for a good portion of the season last year. So he is going to be probably one of the best centers that was still up on the board in the association. And they also signed Eric Gordon to a 1-year deal. So the shooting guard is still in the league, can add some value to your team. And they also re-signed Kelly Oubre. So let's see how the 76ers do next year. So as long as they stay healthy, they can really be a good contender to battle with the Boston Celtics. The next guy I wanted to talk about is Malik Beasley. He just inked their 1-year, $6 million deal with the Detroit basketball team. Just had to do that. But to be quite honest with you guys, I thought there would be more of a market for Malik. He's a sharpshooter with the 3-point shot, and I saw him play a couple of times last season. He's hot or cold. He's one of those players where he gets it rolling and then he gets hot, but He's cold, man. Yeah, he's cold like Lake Town. So that's that. We'll see what happens with him this upcoming season with that roster in Detroit. More on the Detroit Pistons in just a little bit here, but he's still only 27 years old, so still has a couple more years in the league in him. The former Florida State Seminole heads to D-Town. Next guy I wanted to talk about is Miles Bridges. He's a guy that I actually had as a target for the Sacramento Kings. And it's one of those things where, in hindsight, man, I don't know what the hell I was thinking. They just inked a 3 years, $75 million deal to stay in Charlotte. And that's good business for them. If I can go back in time, I would have given other candidates a prop of Miles Bridges. This deal is pretty similar to the DeMar DeRozan deal that we talked about very early on this pod. But the Hornets, I just saw the Hornets play last night right here in Sacramento, California Classic, day number 3. Those guys just went 3-0. So congrats to them. And man, it really seems like they're keeping their core together. LaMelo and Brendan Miller, he is in Las Vegas already with the USA Select team. And then you have Miles here. So those guys are trending in the right direction. And let's just kind of see how things go. Had the opportunity to see Charles Lee, the new head coach with the Charlotte Hornets. It's good for him getting his feet wet already with this team as those guys are heading over to Las Vegas with the Summer League team. All right, so the next guy I want to talk about is Cade Cunningham. I did promise you guys we'll talk about the Detroit Pistons a little bit more, so let's go ahead and do that right now. He just inked a 5-year, $224 million extension with the Detroit Pistons. So they just threw their whole brace track at him, betting on him, surrounding him with some core players that could be there for the foreseeable future and some vets as well. So he'll be getting around $44 million a year, which is just insane, yo. Dope. Man, I'm happy for Cade. Honestly, he's one of my favorite players to watch in the NBA. And the young dude, he set a career high in points at 23 points per game last season and in assists 8 a game after only playing 12 games in the 2022-23 due to injury. The Detroit Pistons also had good business in this free agency so far. They have been busy. They picked up Tim Hardaway Jr. from the Mavs, Malik Beasley, Tobias Harris, Wendell Moore Jr., and Paul Reed, who was claimed off of waivers with the 76ers. So I think it's a good idea what those guys are doing. They just fired their coach a couple of weeks back as well, so they're trying to do a whole rebuild. And I think these guys are going to have a better winning record than they did last year because, let's be honest, they were the worst team in the NBA and probably one of the worst teams we've ever seen in NBA history. That was just a terrible season that they had last year. I think with this team, I don't have their ceiling too high. They'll probably get in a playing situation and maybe win or maybe lose. I don't know how that could go, but I don't really see them going too far. But hey, the Eastern Conference is not very tough at all. Obviously, the Boston Celtics reigning champions, it's going to be hard to get around them, but I think they'll have a better winning percentage total than they did. All right, guys. So in this part of the pod, I'll be talking about players that are rumored to go somewhere or that are still on the board right now in free agency. So let's go ahead and tackle that right now. First player that I have on my list is Lauri Markkanen, the Utah big man. He is not actually a free agent until next season. He's owed $18 million this season and becomes an unrestricted free agent next year. So the Utah Jazz don't want to lose him for just nothing. The power forward had his best season last year. He averaged 23 points a game, 8 rebounds, and 2 assists. It's rumored that the Kings and the Warriors right now are very interested in him. I don't think the Warriors should do it because for them, I would keep betting on JK, who is most likely about to get a rookie extension here soon. I would keep betting on him, and I wouldn't go after Lowry right now if I was them. Plus, a lot of money, luxury tax that those guys have, heavy payroll, one of the heaviest payrolls in the association. If anything, he's a better fit for the Sacramento Kings right now. The Kings' payroll sits at $162 million, so still $3 million below the luxury tax line, which you want to try to be under if possible. And maybe you rework his contract next season if you can. The next guy I want to talk about on this list is Brandon Ingram. So just like Lauri Markkanen, he is not an unrestricted free agent until next season, but the Pelicans did not want to lose him for nothing. Just like Lauri Markkanen, So there is a market for him. A lot of talk about maybe the Sacramento Kings. I don't think that's going to be a really good fit. I love BI, but I don't think he's a good fit in Sacramento Kings. But it's very clear that the Pels do not want him back. Those guys also have a deep payroll right now. I don't think they can afford to keep him unless maybe you rework his deal in some kind of way and give him less money, which I probably would bet that he would not like and would probably go somewhere else or just wait, play it out till next season. Something that I want you guys to know is BI bet on himself this past season to make the All-NBA team. Of course, he didn't make that, and his value has dropped tremendously after last season. He's owed $36 million this upcoming season, and he's a free agent come next season. This past season, BI averaged 20 points a game, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists per contest, and he had a 57% true shooting percentage with a 49% shooting from the field and 35% shooting from the 3-ball and 80% at the charity stripe. So not bad numbers for BI. I just don't know what market there is for him right now. So not bad numbers. It's very interesting to see where BI goes. All right, moving on now. We'll stay in the West Coast. Next player on the board is Spencer Dinwiddie. He is still up on the board right now. He is looking for a new home. A 10-year vet got traded to the Lakers from the Brooklyn Nets at the trade deadline last season. He averaged 10 points, 2 rebounds, and 4 assists per game. The LA native might stay home, especially how the Lakers have not really done any business this offseason apart from re-signing Max Christie to an extension, 32/4, I believe. Not so sure what the market is for Spencer Dinwiddie. He might end up staying with the Los Angeles Lakers, or another team might pick him up maybe for a year or two. Switching gears now, another player that's still up on the board is Robert Covington, their former sharpshooter. 6'7" small forward, has 11 years in the league, so he'll be a good pickup for a team that is looking for a locker room guy and that can still shoot the three. Maybe not at a high volume and not a good percentage as he once was with the Clips back in that 2021-22 season several years back, but his best days are behind him. He's more of a 3-and-D guy. He can really still defend at a high level. He's a decent 3-point shooter. He was once a 45% shooter during that season with the Clips back in 2021. But there is probably going to be some kind of market for Robert Covington. And he's still in his early 30s, I believe. So there's going to be a team that is going to want him still up on the board. Let's see where he goes. All right, we're going to move on now. Next player on my list is Tyus Jones. I'm really surprised, guys, that he's still on the board. I thought he was going to get picked up pretty early, but I don't know what market there is for him at this particular moment. But last season, he made $14 million with the Washington Wizards. Not so sure if his agent is asking for a pay increase from the market, but he has had the best assist turnover ratio in the league the last few seasons now. So he has value. He can bring a lot of value to any team in the association. Former Duke product, averaged 12 points a game, 2 rebounds, and 7 assists on 41% shooting from the field and from 3, 80% from the charity stripe. So not bad at all. The last guy on my list is Brooklyn Nets guard Lonnie Walker IV. So he is an unrestricted free agent this season. He made $2 million last season with the Brooklyn Nets. He's a player that I thought, honestly, would get picked up by now. He has a lot of value and brings a lot of intangibles to the court. Doesn't take up very much money on the salary books. Excellent defender, shoots a 3, had a great clip in 35% and 42% shooting from the field. And he's one of those guys. He's a dog, man. He's going to work his ass off on defense and on offense as well. So he can do that. We saw him have a very good season with the Lakers. Not so sure why they didn't bring him back. He's one of those players that can give you 20 good minutes out there on any given night. So with the way that the Brooklyn Nets roster right now is and where those guys are headed, if I were them, I would just keep him on the books if you can. Just re-sign him to a different deal and go from there. But Lonnie, man, he's one of those players that I thought would get picked up sooner than later. I hope he finds a new home very soon. All right, guys, just to wrap things up, thanks for listening to today's podcast on the Shot Clock Scribbles. Make sure you guys like, subscribe. Check me out on Instagram, Shot Clock Scribbles Podcast. I'm also on TikTok, Shot Clock Scribbles on there. Please check me out. Refer me to some of your friends that love basketball, and we'll see you on the next show.